What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for stopping in. If you haven't subscribed already, do it right now. I know you want to. Just save yourself the trouble. Hit the button right now, along with that notification bell as well. You want to stay up to date with all the things that's going on. We got a lot happening. Today's no different. I want to apologize right away, too, for the eyes. As you can tell, they look a little funky. Allergies are killing me the last few days, but I still want to make the video nonetheless, so let's move on. I got the old welder out with me today, working on the exhaust again. I'll touch on that in just a little bit, but I want to start this video with a little public service announcement. Get right to the point. Don't cheap out on lug nuts. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time going to your favorite auto parts store and buying a little pack of lug nuts. They're garbage. Don't use them. Let me show you why. Oh, a lug nut that has been cross-threaded, but trust me, it has not. This is just, if we could focus, you could see how big of a piece of junk this lug nut is. Another. The reason I'm showing you this, because as you know, I recently put new wheels and tires on the car. There's some evidence of them still remaining here in the garage. I haven't thrown the boxes away yet. Anyway, we got the wheels and tires finally mounted on the car and balanced, and if you watch my last video, or the video where I talk about the wheels and tires getting mounted and balanced finally, you'll recall that if you haven't watched it, go ahead and check it out, but you'll recall that I had a bit of a shimmy on the highway at about 60-70 miles an hour. Now, I initially assumed it was because I used these, again, junk local auto parts store wheel spacers. I'm super impatient. I couldn't wait. I had to get the wheels on the car and drive the thing. So I thought, no big deal. I'll, finally my hub Centric Spacers came in. I got several different sizes so we could try them out. I think we settled on 8mm, nonetheless. Got the hub Centric Spacers on. Took a little bit of the wobble out of the front end, which I was very pleased about, but I could still feel a little in the rear. When I started taking these wheels off the car to make sure I had everything centered properly and everything tightened down, I was having issues with these lug nuts. At one point, tightening these lug nuts down, I actually felt like I had stripped one of the lug bolts, and I was like, oh damn, I just opened another can of worms. It's a whole different problem, a whole nother issue to worry about. However, as I got the lug nuts off, I was seeing that the threads were basically just falling out of them. Again, this is what I saw. Again, this public service announcement is don't cheap out on lug nuts. Look what happens. Obviously, that's not very safe. If your lug nuts are looking like that, or if you're tightening them down. Now, these are the correct specs. These are the correct lug nuts to use for this car. They were not cross-threaded. Very carefully twisted them on. It's just once you get them tightened down, it literally starts tearing the threads out. So with that being said, that's not safe. Obviously, cannot get the wheel tight to the hub if the threads are being ripped out of the lug nuts. So I thought maybe that's where some of that shimmy and shaking was coming from. They felt tight, the wheel felt tight, but at 60-70 miles an hour, there very well could have been some play. So finally, the lug nuts that I had ordered originally, that were trapped in California for a few days, finally arrived. They are black. I do like the polished look against the black wheels, but the black lug nuts don't look that bad either. So anyways, got these replaced. Still a little bit of a shimmy, long story short. Took it back to the wheel and tire shop and said, you gotta balance them. There's something wrong. You gotta check the balance again. Sure enough, the balance was way off. I don't know. The weights that they put on this time are nowhere near being in the same location that they were the first time they balanced these. So I don't know what the hell the problem was, but the guys working at those places are not always the best. Bring me to another point. Go to these types of shops. Make sure you're dealing with people that know what they're talking about. I feel like if you're going to be working at a wheel and tire shop, you should know a little something about wheels and tires. Let me give you an example. I go to this place and I tell them, hey, there's hub-centric rings in these wheels, so they fit the hub. They're aftermarket wheels. The guy looked at me like a deer in the headlights. He had no idea what the hell I was talking about. First red flag. I didn't even mention the wheel spacers that I had on the front wheels because they don't have to come off the hub. Just leave them there, pull the wheels off, balance them again, put them back on. Don't worry about the spacers. But sure enough, they pull the car in the bay, he pulls the wheel off, looks down, pulls the spacer right off, looks at it like, what's this thing? Shows it to the buddy he's working with. He's like, you know what this is? The manager walks by, he's like, oh, what's going on with this thing? You guys have never seen wheel spacers before? Come on. Anyway, wrapping this up. They got the wheels rebalanced. They feel much better in the car. I feel slight vibration still. I think it's just evidence we need to do some burnouts and get these things evened out. What's the main topic? The main topic is, I think I still have an exhaust leak. Really, really tired of dealing with this exhaust. But I think I mentioned in a prior video when I got these vibrant mufflers installed, the muffler guy had dry fitted the mufflers up there to make sure everything was going to line up and fit, and it got a little tight and he struggled to get one off. And while he was struggling to get one off, he was really tweaking the rest of the exhaust system. I thought it had separated the flanges a bit, so I put in a new gasket. It didn't work. There was still quite a significant rattle under heavy acceleration. So again, that didn't work, so I experimented, got a really thick gasket, put that in there, no issues. I held some paper up there to see if I could detect any leaks, nothing. Removed some of the wrap off the Y pipe to see if maybe it had cracked something that was covered, nothing. Getting really, really frustrated at this point, but driving the car around late the other night, I kind of had an epiphany, and I'm not sure why I hadn't thought of it before. This leads me to the reason that I got the old welder out this evening. I had to get a new spool of wire. I still need to go get a grounding clamp tomorrow, a new one. This one's just not cutting it. But I think when he was really torquing on the exhaust, it may have broken a portion of the flex pipe in my Y pipe. I couldn't really find any videos online that had a similar sound, but I just have a feeling that that's what it is. So I'm going to run to the store tomorrow and get a grounding clamp, and then I'm going to pull the car in, pull the Y pipe off, see if I can find any breaks. If I can, we're going to cut the Y pipe out, weld in a new section, which is why I'm getting the welder ready. And I got to do a little practicing real quick, get this thing set up for welding exhaust. I'm a little rusty, so I need to know if I can run a bead. And by rusty, I mean I'm not a very good welder. But I think I can do it good enough to where it'll stay up there and it won't break or fall apart. Anticipate this being a talking video, but here's the old welder. We got it all set up. We got the brand new spool put in. We're all set. Bench is a mess. Car's looking good. I gotta get that thing lowered. Well, it didn't go too bad. I'm not going to show you the weld because they look like garbage. There's a couple sections in here that are pretty decent, but nonetheless, maybe we'll show you when we get the pipe welded up. But anyway, it's dialed in. We're not burning through. We're getting a nice bead with some nice penetration. I think we'll be just fine. You know, I hate to say it, I don't want to find any cracks, but I'm tired of this rattle and this weird noise that the exhaust is making. So I'm actually hoping that I do find some breaks in the flex pipe. At least we'll know what the issue is and resolve it. But that's where we're at for the evening. We'll cut it now, and I guess see you in the morning. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's the next morning. Eyes are still effed up, thank you. We're a little bit behind schedule, and I'll tell you why. Despite there being no rain, absolutely no rain in the forecast until Friday, it rained last night. Can you believe that? This morning I'm on my way to my very favorite tool supply store. No need to mention the name, I'm sure you all know what it is. But I have to make a pit stop first in downtown Greenville because we got to take some nice photographs this morning. That was the whole purpose of getting going early this morning, catching the nice light, which it is because it's slightly overcast. We should have some nice photos coming out today, but the problem is I had the car all shined up and polished and looking good, and all I was anticipating was getting out the old California Duster this morning and getting rid of some of the pollen, but no, it had to rain and completely mess up the car. So I spent the last hour cleaning everything up and wiping everything down, and now we have to drive on these wet roads anyway all the way downtown, and who knows what the car is going to look like by the time we get there. To take some photos today anyway, despite the conditions. I brought the supplies with me. Reason for the photographs is we got some exciting news coming up in the very near future, so stick around for that. Look at Greenville early in the morning before a bunch of people come down. Hitting every red light. A couple old buildings down here that look pretty cool and have some bigger open parking areas, so good photo opportunity. So we're trying to scope those out and see what's going to work this morning. It's a pretty cool city. If you've never been here, I would suggest making a trip down. Lots to see, lots to do. Well, despite a little bit of rain this morning, I think we got some decent pictures, so that's good. Off to the store. All right, well, we finished up in the store. I hate going in there because you always leave with more than you came for, but I couldn't help it. I got some good stuff. New gloves. I'm not sure what Hardy is, but they were only $5 and they fit good and they feel decent. Went through rubber gloves like nobody's business, so we got some nice 7mm thickness Nerdtile, whatever. Little bush. So those are good. $8 or $9, cool. Of course, what we came for, a nice grounding clamp. So let's go take a look and see what's wrong with this Y-pipe. All right, guys, we're back at the garage. Good thing we got the new gloves because we are taking this Y-pipe off hot. I'll spare you the whole process of pulling it off. You pretty much get it. 2, 4, 6 bolts, pull the thing out. We'll take a look at it. Hopefully we can resolve the issue. I'll say that. We got the Y-pipe out, but on first inspection, I like to look at the gaskets, see if we can tell us anything is going on. And these are the gaskets that go from the Y-pipe to the test pipes. And it looks like this one sealed up relatively well. But if we look at this other one, there's evidence of a leak here just because of the corrosion and discoloration going all the way to the edge here. It makes it appear as though gases were getting past the gasket. The bolts from the test pipes to the Y-pipe actually were not all that tight. I had checked them within a couple of days of having them installed, so they were tight then, and maybe I didn't have all that much leverage where I was at, so I didn't pay much attention. But getting under there and loosening them up now, just barely put any effort into it, and the bolt broke free. So they may not have been tightened down very well, and it could be some source of some noise that I was hearing under there in terms of a leak. But let's take a look at the Y-pipe. So we got it out, and I will say that just looking at it, I don't see any problems, and handling it and moving it over here to the wall, I didn't notice any weird noises coming from the flex portions, but I hope to 8-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus that I find something, because I can't stand this crazy rattling sound anymore in the exhaust. So I'll take a look and report back. I honestly wasn't finding any rattling of any kind, messing with the Y pipe, so I'm just taking another look under here to see if there's any issues. Maybe, yeah, it might be the source of something. Heat shields often are. I don't really want to take that one off. I mentioned something about this a while back, but these pipes did not have the brackets that connected up where the old catalytic converters were, so I want to weld something in, but you know, trying to get rid of this rattle, I just made a quick little bracket and attached it here with some hose clamps and used the original brace here, and it holds them pretty firm, which is good, but it did not resolve the rattle issue. So I got one of those on each side. I guess I'm gonna keep exploring. Well, as I dig around under there, I'm starting to think that it might be indeed those heat shields. Rather than take them off, however, I'm going to use some of my leftover Noiko sound deadener mat and just put a couple strips underneath that heat shield, and then also a strip connecting the heat shield to the body of the car, and hopefully that holds it more firm. What are we gonna do before that? Well, we're gonna do the thing that any good car guy would do. We're gonna fire this thing up without a catback system hooked up. So we're just gonna see what it sounds like. We have to. Sounds pretty good. Well, there's obviously no way I could run it like that for real. It's super loud, even though it has a really nice tone. But when I did tap the throttle just a little bit and revved it slightly, I could hear a rattle, and it did sound just like that heat shield did when I was flicking it with the old finger. So I'm gonna address those heat shields right now. We're gonna put this damn Y pipe back in. Hopefully it resolves the issue. If not, I'm lost. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comment section below, but let's get this thing wrapped up. I'm not gonna show you the whole heat shield nonsense. I'll show you the heat shields once they come out, but there's 3 little nuts in there. It's very tight, hard to even show on camera, so I'm not gonna even bother with it. So stay tuned. Allergy medicine obviously has me all jacked up. I am not gonna remove the heat shields, so I can't show you them when they're pulled out. But I kinda wanna take them out. The problem is, if you take them out, those high flow cats are really hot, and this Noiko sound deadener is not really for, you know, heat protection or heat resistance. It's got an adhesive to it, and when it gets super hot, it kind of gets melty. So I don't know that it would do any good anyway. So I'm gonna ponder this. The next thing you see, sorry. The next thing you see will be whether or not I took those heat shields out. Stay tuned, I guess. All right, they're just coming out. Two 10 millimeter bolts and one 10 millimeter nut. And that's all that's holding them in. They come out. I didn't have to move the test pipes at all. You had to kind of shimmy it a little bit and get it out of there. Careful not to cut your O2 sensor wire, but it came out. Let's go for number 2. And then there were two. All right, here is the moment of truth. I'm gonna fire it up. Nothing out of ordinary. Let's go for a rip, shall we? Well, I definitely have an exhaust leak. I don't know where it's coming from. This is getting ridiculous. As far as the rattle, it's still there. God damn it. It almost sounds worse than it did before, to be honest. I don't know. I have no idea what the deal is now. I think the rattle is coming from the driver's side flex pipe. It's hard to hear it there, but I'm going to tap the other side and try to hold the camera so you can see. We're facing the other direction now, but same flex pipe. I'm going to start hitting it. Let's see what we can find out. Right in there, I think. I've already messed around for most of the day, so I think we're gonna have to say to be continued on this one. Anyway, we got the heat shields removed, so those aren't gonna vibrate. But I think we isolated where it's coming from, that rattle anyway. And I guess maybe next weekend we'll tackle that. But we got some other stuff coming up, so stay tuned. Thank you very much for your continued support. Thank you very much for liking this video and subscribing to the channel as well. Hit that little bell so you stay up to date. As you know, we got the paddle shifters coming. We got suspension stuff hopefully ordered in the next few days. And some other stuff happening, so stick around. Thanks again. See you next time.